Imagine an image of younger Atharv sitting right in front of you. He's the skinny fat brown kid with an iPad in his hands, and just like most other teens nowadays, he lives purely based off his emotion. So he eats junk food and scrolls for hours because he feels like it. He doesn't feel like studying, so he doesn't do it, and he plays hours of video games because it feels good. He's always chasing pleasure based on emotion, based on trying to get this next hit of dopamine, of living just for that next hit of pleasure. And yet his life keeps on getting worse. Even though he's chasing happiness every single hour of the day, he's fat now, he's getting less and less motivated to do the good habits, and this is all happening just because younger Atharv is a slave to his emotions. If you're unsatisfied with where you are, just like how I was for so long, it's probably because you're a slave to your emotions, bro. And bro, I'm far from like a master or guru when it comes to emotions, but in the past year, I've done hundreds of hours of just learning about the mind and our emotions and observing how things like addiction and bad habits work, and I made some pretty good progress. And so this could be one of the most important videos that you watch this year, because when you stop being controlled by your emotions and instead act based on logic, your life just gets so much better, right? You'll automatically start making better decisions about your health. You'll stop procrastinating about the work that you know you need to get done today, and overall life just gets better when you're just in control rather than being controlled by your emotions. And so I promise, bro, I won't try and waste your time. If you watch till the end of this video, you could have a completely different life trajectory from where you are right now, bro. So here's the thing, wherever you are right now, whether you're fat or you have a six-pack or you have the best grades in the school, whatever it may be, you are here because of your actions. So if you're dissatisfied with where you are and your daily bad habits, then it's most likely because you gave the power away to your emotions. We want the opposite of that, right? If you want to get to the goals that you have like sort of set in your mind, you are most likely gonna have to go through some pain. And so we want to be able to master our mind and master our impulses so that we don't choose the pleasure route and instead go for the route that we know we need to do, whether it be exercising more or studying more. All of that comes only when you're able to do those actions, regardless of whether you feel like it, regardless of whether your emotions are telling you to do something else. And so here's the thing, you cannot right now trust your brain, because your brain is currently feeding you these emotions, these impulses that are actively taking you away from where you want to be, right? If you want to have that six-pack, but you keep on indulging in the candy, in the sweets, in the junk food, well, that's because your actions haven't been ruled by logic. They've been ruled by your emotions. And so we want to detach from these emotions and really just figure out how can we master our emotions so that we can in turn master our actions and get to where we want to be in life. So I'm just going to assume that you're not a bitch and you have full awareness of how your actions have led to you being where you are right now. Then now we're ready to take the next step. So if you want to be able to overcome emotion, then we need to understand what the hell emotions even are. Because you might have a vague idea of what emotions are, but I'm going to try to articulate it as best as I can so that you have the full picture of what exactly emotions are and how we can overcome them. So let me just give you an analogy. Think of your mind and your brain almost like a fish tank. So you have this fish bowl that's full of water and it has all of these fishes swimming around in it. You are the water. You are basically what are holding all of these fish in it. The fish, on the other hand, are your thoughts. So you aren't actually your thoughts. You're just the observer of them. You're just the vessel which the thoughts sit inside. You need to learn how to detach from your thoughts, because you, again, you're the observer of your thoughts. You're the water in the tank that the fish are swimming around. And so because you aren't your thoughts, you can actually detach from your thoughts and just observe them. And your thoughts are nothing but echoes of your emotions. If you have a negative thought, it's because you have a negative emotion inside of you. Your thoughts, your emotions will never go away. All we need to do is we need to learn to ignore the fish, ignore the thoughts that are going on in your head, and do whatever you need to do regardless of them. And so building off of that fish tank analogy, what we can learn is that, okay, let's say I give you a chocolate bar right now. Your thoughts, the fish in that fish bowl, would be swimming around. They'd be telling you, oh, you should eat it, you should eat it, you should have it, it's gonna taste good. But you need to learn how to basically ignore those thoughts, basically observe them and do what's right regardless of the fish. When you can just learn to observe your thoughts, it becomes so much easier to resist the bad habits. We don't want to be a slave to our thoughts and our impulses. We want to be the master of them. We want to be able to observe our thoughts and be mindful of our impulses and then decide to make the decision that we know is right for us. And so our main goal right now should just be to learn to detach from our thoughts so that we don't have this noise inside of our head that's telling us to do all these bad habits. And the best way that I've found to do this, and it might seem a little bit cringe, but just hear me out, is meditation. So I know what's going through your head right now. As soon as I mentioned the word meditation, you might have been turned off. It might seem a little bit weird to meditate nowadays, but listen, nowadays most people are bad at controlling their impulses. And so you need to realize that if you're addicted to things like YouTube, junk food, scrolling, porn, video games, you're doing these things because you haven't been meditating, because you haven't learned to observe your thoughts. And so turn your brain off right now and just listen to me, because this habit literally changed my life, bro. I went from being this loser addict to video games and all these other bad habits to becoming a straight A student, losing 15 pounds, doing all of these good habits now because I just started meditating. I truly believe that if you start doing this habit, it will change the trajectory of your life. And so you would be wise to at least take this into consideration, bro. So if I were to try to break down meditation to you in the simplest terms possible, meditation is pretty much just a cycle of you trying to focus on your breath, getting distracted with some thoughts, and then refocusing back on your breath. So pretty much what you're going to do is you're going to sit down and you're going to close your eyes, and you're going to just start taking some deep breaths and observing them, trying to keep all of your attention on those breaths. And what's going to happen, especially because our minds are conditioned by things like YouTube Shorts and TikTok and video games, where we're always switching our attention and sort of overstimulating ourselves. After you do it, take a few breaths, you're going to start having some thoughts. They can just be some random thoughts. It doesn't really matter. You're just going to start having some thoughts. And what you need to do is, as soon as you realize that you're having these thoughts, just focus back onto your breath. So again, you're taking these breaths, you're trying to meditate, and then you're going to start having some thoughts. That's a good thing, by the way. It's not a bad thing to have some thoughts. What you need to do from there is just shift back to your breath. And what this does is it trains our minds to just learn how to observe our thoughts and realize that, yeah, we aren't our thoughts. We're just the observer of them. And so if you watch this video to actually take some action, pause this video and just do 5 breaths of meditation. So just take some deep breaths 5 times. And as soon as you start having some thoughts, return back to your breath. That's all you need to do. Just do it once right now. Pause the video and do it right now. If you're not actually just a content addict, and if you're here to actually improve yourself, then do it right now, bro. Pause the video and do 5 breaths of meditation and then come back. Another tactic that I found really useful was just learning to just call myself out whenever I found myself about to do a bad habit. So let's say I was procrastinating on some work. I'm saying these things like, oh, I'll do it in 5 minutes. Oh, I'm gonna just watch some YouTube right now. What I basically do nowadays is whenever I realize like, oh, I'm procrastinating, I'll just straight out tell myself, oh yeah, right now I'm being a bitch. Right now I'm going to go watch some YouTube and delay the work so that future me suffers. When you get into this habit of calling yourself out, all of a sudden, doing that bad habit doesn't even feel fun anymore. So let's say I have some junk food in front of me and I'm about to eat it. I'll just call myself out and say like, oh yeah, right now I'm gonna eat some junk food and be a slave to my emotions and harm future me's goal of becoming a fit person. When I just call myself out like that, all of a sudden, it doesn't even feel good to eat the junk food. It doesn't even feel good to procrastinate. And so I'm able to just call myself out and reinforce a new behavior in myself. So that's just another tactic that you can start doing if you want to get some quick results as well. And so yeah, bro, that's all I have for today. My goal is to help 10,000 teens just like younger Atharv get over their addictions and just become reborn. And so subscribe if you want to have that same thing happen to you. As always, my name's Atharv. See you soon, bro.